Hey guys, this is TK. In this video, we are going to take a look at setting up a Cisco wireless LAN using a single SSID, and based on the user authentication, assign user to a particular VLAN using ACS server. Here we have a 5508 wireless controller and a Aeronet 3500 series access point. And also we have ACS appliances running version 5.2. Also we have an active directory that ACS use as a external authentication source. And we have we are going to assign two VLANs that will based on the user authentication, that will put the user into the particular VLAN. Username VLAN 10 will put the user into VLAN 10, and username VLAN 20 put the user into VLAN 20. So we'll start with ACS configuration. First we'll go to network resources and set up a location. So this is a brand new ACS configuration. We'll create a lab, name lab as a location, and then we'll go and create a device type. Also as lab controller, lab controllers. And then we'll go ahead and add network devices into ACS. So we are going to add the controller 5508 wireless controller. Do create. We'll put a descriptive name for the controller. And select the location which we create, lab, and also the device type, lab controllers. And we'll assign the IP address for the controller, which is 192.168.250.15. And we are going to use radius with the shared secret. Submit this. And then we are going to take a look at users and the identity stores. Like I mentioned before, we are going to use the Active Directory, which we have set it up for this lab. And I already have that added to the ACS, and we can verify the connectivity by doing the test connection. And then we go to directory groups, which will query the Active Directory groups. And I already have two groups set up on Microsoft Active Directory, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Wireless-VLAN 10, wireless-VLAN 20. Let me remove these duplicate groups. And then go to policy elements. Let's save these changes. Let's go to policy elements and go to authorization and permissions, authorization profiles. And let's create an authorization profile. Profile VLAN 10. The common task, we can keep it as is. We are not going to use that. The radius attribute. This is where the VLAN assignment comes into play based on the user authentication. So we are going to select tunnel type ID 64, radius IETF value, and we are going to assign VLAN the value, and let's put tag number 1 for that. And then we have to select the tunnel medium type which is going to be 802. And also let's we have to set up a tag value for that. And the last radius attribute we have to select is we have to define the VLAN for this profile, and that is the tunnel private group ID, and the value is 10 because we are going to assign VLAN 10 for this profile. So one tag value 1, submit this, add this. And so the tunnel type, tunnel medium type, and tunnel private group ID, those are the three values which is required for to create an authorization profile. We'll do the same for VLAN 20. Profile VLAN 20. No changes on the common tasks. Radius attributes, let's add those three attributes. Tunnel type is going to be a VLAN. Tunnel medium type is going to be 802.802. And tunnel private group ID, which will be the VLAN assignment, and in this case it's 20. Alright, so we have the authorization profiles configured for VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. The next thing is the access policies, which is where we are going to bind these together, the users and the authorization profiles. Before that, let's check the default network access protocols. In this case, we are going to use a protected EAP, and we are going to use MS-CHAP version 2 and all those variants, and we are going to use the preferred EAP protocol as PEEP. Let's go back to default network access. In the identity source will be Active Directory. You can check these advanced options. The way that you select Active Directory is it's through the select button, and then you select Active Directory over there. Save this. And the authorization, so this is where we're going to create some rules. Make sure that you have this customize conditions selected, location, device type, etc. We'll take a look at those right now. So the rule 1, the location is the one that we created lab. The network device group, it's lab controllers, also we created previously. The protocol will be radius. We are going to match that. Okay, the EAP authentication method. So here we are going to choose EAP MS-CHAP version 2. Again, make sure that on the customize option these values are selected. The AD external groups, we are going to use contain any, select, and we are going to use the group that we are going to assign the policy for, which is VLAN 10 users, which came from Active Directory. And the authorization profile which we are going to apply is profile VLAN 10, which also we created previously. So basically we are binding the VLAN 10 users to the authorization profile 10. matching those conditions. Let's do the same second rule for VLAN 20 users. Again, the location is lab. Device type, lab controllers. These are the conditions. Protocol, radius. EAP authentication method, EAP MS Chat version 2. And AD external groups, VLAN, wireless VLAN 20 users. And then we are going to apply the policy for these users, profile VLAN 20. Profile VLAN 20 bind to the wireless VLAN 20 users based on those conditions. Here you see the details which we created. Save these changes and let's move on to setting up the controller. The setting up the controller is straightforward. We are going to first add the radius server to the controller. Let's take a look at, we don't have any SSIDs configured right now. So let's add the radius server. Authentication. Let's create a new. The radius server's IP address is 192.168.250.17. The shared secret which we created in the radius server before when we add the controller. Apply this. And then let's go ahead and configure interfaces. So we have to create these two VLANs in the controller. Basically, when you set up the controller, you have the controller trunked into the switch. So we are going to create these sub interfaces with VLANs. So first we'll create the VLAN 10 using the port number 1, and we'll assign the IP address belongs to that VLAN. I'm sorry, this should be 192.168.251. The VLAN 10 is 251, VLAN 20 is 252. So the DHCP server for this VLAN is 192.168.251.1, the same default gateway which I'm using, the 6500, as my DHCP server, also providing scopes for the users when they authenticate to this particular VLAN. Likewise, let's create the VLAN 20. Interface VLAN 20, VLAN ID is 20. Interface name is a descriptive name. Port number 1. VLAN identifier is 20. IP address 192.168.252.10. This is just to show the presence of this controller in this VLAN. 192.168.252.1 is the default gateway, and also the DHCP server for the users for this particular VLAN is 192.168.252.1. Let's go ahead and apply this. Okay, at this point we are ready to set up a SSID, and it's going to be a single SSID which users will connect, and ACS will assign users to particular VLAN based on how they log in. So the SSID we're going to create is one SSID. We can create a profile first for this SSID and then create the SSID. Apply, and we can pretty much keep the settings, make sure it's enabled. Broadcast SSID is enabled, the status enable. Then let's move on to security, and we are going to use the key management, the authentication key management 802.1x with CCKM. Let's move on to AAA servers, and we'll select the server for the authentication. We didn't configure any accounting servers, but no, we're going to use only the authentication part for this test. And then let's move on to advanced. This is important. We have to enable allow AAA override to send those values to the controller. So this option needs to be checked. We're going to disable the session timeouts and the client exclusions. Disable client exclusion. And also I'm going to disable MFP client protection option. And also DHCP address assignment is required. So I'm going to check this box. And that's pretty much we have to do for SSID creation. You can take a look at the advanced option to see the access points. It's on default group, and this is the profile, the SSID I created, and this is the AP which is assigned to this group right now. I have only one AP for testing. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the Microsoft protected EAP client to connect. So I go ahead and create a manually connect to wireless network and set up the name, network name as my SSID, one SSID. I'm going to select WPA2 Enterprise. Encryption type is AES, which we have it on the controller. And then change the settings, and then go ahead and use protected EAP. Go to settings, unchecked the validate server certificate for now, and also not going to use the automatic Windows logon. And in advanced settings, I'm going to specify the authentication mode as the user authentication. At this point, we are ready to do a test, and let's take a look. So the username VLAN 10 should assign to VLAN 10 and have an IP address on the VLAN 10 DHCP scope 192.168.251.x range. Let's check the status, details, and it's 192.168.251.13 for user VLAN 10. Now let's try it for the user VLAN 20. Let's disconnect and connect back as VLAN 20. Username VLAN 20. We should see an address assigned on 192.168.252. range, which will indicate us the user belongs to VLAN 20. Let's take a look. The status. Alright, so it's 192.168.252.11. So the user belongs to VLAN 20. So this conclude the testing that we want to verify that ACS is assigning based on the authentication user logon a proper VLAN. Thanks.